I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Thursday, September the 14th, brought to you in part by Vitalix. Delivering the highest value tub for your feed dollar has been their mission for over 30 years. Trust Vitalix to impact the profitability of your operation. Get the blue tub. Your cows will love you. For more information, go to Vitalix.com. Beef demand is struggling. How do we know that? Well, our box beef cutout values are having a hard time getting a rally going again, especially as high as fat cattle are. The fact of the matter is the box beef cutout value report is pretty weak. It's probably as weak as what our negotiated fat cattle price is as far as price discovery, and that is terrible. But your packers tell us what they want us to know. Of course, most of your beef trades are way out front. Most of them are formula type sales, much like what our fat cattle trade is. So it may be kind of what they're showing us, but still, that's the only gauge we really have. And it might be that consumers are just getting sticker shock for what they're seeing in the supermarkets. You know, people are still going to go to the steak houses. They're still going to celebrate with a steak. I don't think our food service is really lacking, but you know, our steak houses have changed their menu. Steaks are higher than what people are used to. They may be choosing something else. And all of this lack of beef demand, or showing that it's as strong as what the demand for the limited supplies of fat cattle are, this is all happening despite light production. The packers have really scaled back the production of the cattle that they're harvesting. They've maintained that. They're very disciplined in that. We know that they have obligations to fill to their customers, but they still just continue on this light slaughter that we're seeing. And the main thing that we don't want to do, and I don't care if it's the packers or the cattle feeders or the backgrounders or the cow-calf producers, nobody that has anything to do with the beef business wants beef to become a luxury item that you can't have on your table day in and day out, you know, through the week. And we're getting to the point where it may be getting that, especially with inflation. People have fewer dollars to spend to feed their family, so they're making some cuts back. One place that we see that, they still want beef, but the best demand we have for beef right now is for a fresh 90s. That is lean cow meat for the most part there, and used to make hamburgers. And maybe people are turning to hamburgers rather than muscle cuts, and that's what I kind of mean. Maybe a ribeye is just too much for a luxury item for most households to have on a regular basis. But we're a little bit worried about that, but they still want the beef. They're just getting it in a cheaper product. And we in fact saw our 90s hit a new all-time high, record price high here. And our middle meats, where those more expensive cuts are coming from, have backed off a little bit. But we're going to see cows continue to stay at a nice price. Talking about your packer cows, your way up type cows. We are going to see a bigger run of those as our big ranches through your mountain states and the northern plains begin to ship their calves. A lot of times they'll bring everything in, sort the calves off. The biggest part of them that were sold on the video, they're sorted off the cows the day that they ship, the day that they load them. And then they'll put those cows through the chute, do a preg test on them, and cull their cows right there. So they'll be shipping loads of slaughter cows to your cow processors. So going to see a bigger run of cows coming in your sale barns too in some places. But how that bigger glut meets up with the big demand for cow meat remains to be seen, but I assume that it's going to stay pretty good like it's been here for the last several months. But Joplin cow sale, they had a special replacement cow sale on Wednesday evening, and it was good. We're not seeing anybody as far as cow-calf producers, you know, starting to increase their production. They can't afford to keep heifers back because the heifers are bringing a big price, and they need to make some money. They need money for these $75,000 and up pickups. They need money. They need real money. Your backgrounders need real money for the yearlings, and they're getting paid well. They hadn't made a lot of money the last few years, but they're making a lot of money right now. And then you go on from there, your cattle feeders, I hate to say it, but they really don't care what the price is. They're buying cattle to feed. They're hedging those cattle. They're hedging their feed, and then they're running them through the process there, and then trading out whenever they ship those fats. And it's basically just a basis thing for them. And so it doesn't really matter per se if you're a cattle feeder whether the price of those feeder cattle that you're buying is $250 or if it's $150. It's going to make a little bit of difference, but still, basically the trade out is about the same. But on down from there, your more grassroots producers, your cow-calf people, your backgrounders, they need real money to continue to operate. They haven't been profitable here for many years, are being profitable now, but your cow-calf producers, they need to sell those heifers because they need the money. So we're not seeing a lot of heifers kept back, and we're not seeing that hardly at all. Back in 2014, we saw immediate reaction to that. People started keeping heifers back, made the price even higher, and it's going to whenever people finally start to keep heifers back this time, which will likely be a year from now. But we're just not seeing anybody keeping anything back. You think, well, maybe they are going to the sales and buying replacement stock at the sales. And we're not seeing that biggest sales of replacement stock. We are seeing some older producers, which the average age of a cow-calf producer is plenty old already, but some guys that are ready to get out if they don't have a next generation coming on. It's a good time for them to pull the plug because the price of all classes of their cattle are at record highs or near record highs. So you're seeing some of that happening. But the heck of it is now, the price of those replacement stock there are so high, likely we're not going to see our bigger producers, our major producers, cow-calf producers, going in and buying cattle like that. They really don't like to go outside of their herd to increase production, but the prices are pretty high, and we saw that at Joplin Regional Stockyards at their special bred cow sale. They had young bred cows up to $25.50. And that's not way up in South Dakota or western Nebraska. That's in southwest Missouri. Young bred cows up to $25.50. And you think, well, that must have been one little bitty deal. They had over 330 head of young bred cows there, and the average price on them was $21.43 a head. That's pretty steep. And a lot of guys think, oh, heck, I'm not going to buy those things. I'll just keep heifers back next year and do that. I'll be able to afford to keep more heifers back next year. But, what were the prices on some of the other classes of replacement stock? They had top quality bred heifers selling from $2,900 to $3,100. Wow. That's high. I know a big yearling steer will bring well over $2,000, but still you're forking out $3,000 for a bred heifer that you're introducing into your herd, and you're not real wild about that. Anyway, top quality young cow-calf pairs in Joplin sold from $2,575 to $2,700, and they're awarding a lot of cow-calf pairs there, and most people are in line with a spring calving herd anyway, so you're not seeing as much demand as you would for bred heifers and young bred cows. But still, it's pretty pricey if you want to get in and start increasing production immediately, and like I said, we're just not seeing that yet. So we're going to see high prices of all classes of these cattle for at least another 2 years and maybe 3 for sure. But like I said, on your beef cutouts, price discovery is not great. Your price discovery on fed cattle continues and progressively continues to get worse. Your packers have scaled back their harvest of fat cattle, and where they're scaling it back is in the negotiated sales. They still got long-term commitments with their formula guys, but those formulas are based off of that negotiated cash trade, and they're not pushing the market on those negotiated sales. They're just buying less on the spot cash market to keep those prices under wraps, and that leaves us with less and less and less price discovery. Coming to you from Winnemucca, Nevada, we went up to Northern California, extreme Northern California, on Wednesday, and we set up all tourist California sale barn there, Modoc County livestock sales there, and they will be broadcasting on DVAuction this Saturday for the first time ever. Be interesting for you guys to go on Saturday and check out how they sell cattle up in extreme Northern California. Talk about your board on Wednesday. October live cattle futures were down $1. They wanted to go down on Tuesday, but they saw some increased demand there from your bearish crop report, your corn. So they just put it off a day and come down on Wednesday, and your corn was actually right back up. So that bearish crop report did not make very long impact there. But 183.15 on October live cattle. December down 60 cents at 187.85. Your back months on live cattle down, but not bad, just 2 cents to 45 cents. Still going to be big demand for fat cattle because our supplies are not going to increase anytime soon. Talk about your feeder cattle board. September feeder cattle down $1.82. Ouch. At 253.42, but still trading at a premium to what your cash index levels are at. October down 220 at 259.05. Your back months were down, but not as much. Down 20 cents is all, and that's your farthest out traded month, to down 132. Like I said, your new crop December corn was actually back up 5 3/4 cents. It was only down about 9 cents after that bearish crop report, and took more than half that back on Wednesday, but 4.82 1/4 cents a bushel. November new crop beans up 3 1/4 at 13.49 3/4 cents. How about Kansas City hard red winter wheat for December? That is the most volatile ag product there is, and I feel sorry for the people that are actively trading in that market day to day, because it would absolutely drive you to drinking. Kansas City hard red winter wheat for December was up 14 cents on Wednesday at 7.44 3/4. Fat cattle trade, a little bit of dribble of direct trade out of your 5-area feeding region, but like I said, we just don't see much price discovery out of there anymore. They have to trade just enough to meet the threshold to base those base prices off of, so they can do the formulas, and that is all they're buying. Iowa, 3,200 head sold, confirmed on Wednesday. Just live price from 184 to 185. That's pretty close to steady with last week. We've been kind of thinking we might gain some level on our fat cattle this week negotiated, but it'll have to happen in the Southern Plains, it appears. Nebraska, only 300 head sold, so that's nothing. On Wednesday, live price was 184. Dress price from 286 to 288. Kansas and Texas have not sold a hoof negotiated. The last market on those were 180. Likely going to be steady there. We were hoping for maybe a buck more, but they'll have to really dig in, the few guys that sell negotiated cash in the Southern Plains. We did see a brick and mortar fat cattle auction. It was Sioux Falls Regional Livestock in Worthing, South Dakota. That's a DVAuction broadcaster there. They had a good run of slaughter cattle, 1,375 head. Fat steers were steady to $2 higher. Fat heifers $2 to $3 higher than last week. They did note there was no discount for the beef on dairy cattle that they had available there. And of course they sell really well down in the Southern Plains whenever they have them. But conventional fed cattle at Worthing, South Dakota sold from 180 to 189.50. The program cattle, non-implanted or drug-free cattle, sold from 184 to 194. Box beef cutout values continue to struggle on the choice. It was down 48 cents on Wednesday afternoon at 307.55. Your select was actually up, and maybe people are going to the select because it's a little bit cheaper, but up $3.41. That's a big disparage between your choice trend and your select trend, but it come out at 287.19 on Wednesday afternoon. Your slaughter, just 378,000 harvested through the first 3 days of the week. Can't compare it with last week, but through the same week a year ago, it was down 6,000 head. Talk about what else is going on. Livestock Risk Services, your LRP specialists, that's Dakota Moss there in Oklahoma City, or either of any of these agents here that's listed, but you can't risk it. It's not worth the risk as high as what these calves are going to be if you're going to be backgrounded some calves on winter wheat, or maybe if you got some stockpiled hay or something like that. And a lot of people are going to be backgrounding calves on some kind of a silage. But you can't risk. The price is just too big that's out there. The government's going to come in and supplement the price of that policy. You've got to do it. I know you've got questions about it. Call them at Livestock Risk Services. Talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DVAuction late in the day on Wednesday, sitting at 249.23. That was up 57 cents. Good demand for feeder cattle. Feeder cattle availability is tightening. It continues to tighten, and the calves are going to be more. Some of your Midwestern feeders, Corn Belt feeders, they like to feed calves, but they're not going to get in on the calves until they're done with harvest. But your commercial feedlots primarily feed yearlings and bigger yearlings, and those numbers are starting to dwindle, and we're seeing the demand stay good and really kind of increase for that. Don't forget about the Punchy Pick of the Month contest, guys. It's a great contest. We've been having a lot of fun with it. We've gotten some neat pictures so far this month, but the last day of the month we will award the grand prize of the Punchy Pick of the Month. Just take a picture with your cell phone there, send that picture to punchy@nationalbeefwire.com. We'll pick out the punchiest pick, grand prize winner at the end of every month. Get some really cool swag from Beaver Feed, from Beaver County Stockyards, both in Beaver, Oklahoma, and that revolutionary product that I'm talking about all the time, that every day I talk to somebody else that's trying it, having really good luck, especially with these high-risk calves. These unweaned calves are coming in, just the topical product of Fairpeas. You put over the muzzle, you put over the pole, it soaks in, calms the calves down. They go to eating, they go to drinking, they quit bawling quite so much. And you get a whole case of that if you're the Punchy Pick of the Month winner. Be sure and watch the video at the end of this report for some more testimonials on that product. Also, don't forget, here on Thursday, Elite Livestock Sales out of Alabama. That's the crew that was at Montgomery Stockyards before they closed it there, and you can trust them. They do an awful good job there, having their sales on video now. Elite Livestock Sales got a special video sale here today on Thursday. 36 loads going to be offered from 5 different states. This is the first time they've had cattle from so many different states offered there. One of those states includes Kansas. So check out those Southern Plains cattle selling on Elite Livestock Video, based out of Alabama there. Let's talk about your big sales on Wednesday. OKC West, El Reno, Oklahoma. DVAuction broadcaster, we're glad to have them aboard. 8,800 head for the 2-day sale. This week they had a lighter run of calves and a bigger run of yearlings. Last week it was pretty much split, but the feeder steers sold $3 to $6 higher. It's a big jump, guys, for as high as they are. Feeder heifers $2 to $4 higher. The calves on Tuesday were $1 to $4 lower. The ball and calves are just weighting down your market on calves, guys. The temperature's still hot. We're getting close to the time when our temperature swings are going to be the widest. Nobody wants to be stuck with a bunch of ball and calves that are sick. But OKC West, El Reno, Oklahoma, here's your National Beef Wire stick-out sale of the day. This is just the Wednesday sale on the big feeders, guys. So disregard the calves. What showed up there with just a few hodgepodge deals there. But look at your best tested weights. 1,448 head of 7-weight steers, average 756 with a weighted average price of $253.60. 1,012 head of 8-weight steers in El Reno, averaged 849 pounds and 245.81. 870 head of 9-weight steers at OKC West, averaged 933 pounds with a weighted average price of $231.94. Look at some heifers. How about 468 head of 6-weight heifers, feeder heifers, 659 pounds on the average, $235.86 on the weighted average price. 783 head of 7-weight heifers, average $758 at $231.34. Give you some individual quotes from all around. How about Equity Cooperative Sale in Waukon, Iowa? They get some big prices out of there. Got farmer feeders in that area. How about 143 head of 909-pound steers, bring $253. Big price there. How about Coffeyville Stockyards, the Northtown barn up in Kansas? Tyler Layton's doing a good job with both locations there of Coffeyville Stockyards. He sold 224 steers, weighed 740 pounds, bring $265.10. Bluegrass market from way out east, Albany, Kentucky. That's not one of their bigger bluegrass locations, but they can sell them there too. How about 66 head of 799, or might as well say 800-pound steers in Kentucky in the ring at $259.95. They squeeze every drop out of them, guys. But how about your most impressive quote for the day? It's your Mackerson No BS top quote for the day. Come out of Bloomfield Livestock Market in Bloomfield, Iowa. The schoolies there sold 64 fancy steer calves. They weighed 530 pounds, bring $335.75. And that's your feeder flash for Thursday.
My biggest account is Jeff Slatton, the owner of Beaver County Stockyards. For a while, we was selling him lots of antibiotics to doctor his cattle with. He was having basically a wreck at times. Therapies comes along, we introduce it, he starts trying it out. Almost instantly, his vet bill reduced drastically, and the only thing that was changed up was therapies. I've also had other guys, cow-calf guys, this previous fall that tried it. Had one individual out here east of Beaver. First time he's ever tried it. He said he's always weaned his calves. They've bawled. They're right around his house. Can't sleep. This is the first year he's used it. He sent me a video one afternoon. The calves are all at the bunk. They're eating. They're spread out doing what they're supposed to do, and not a sound. So he was sold on it instantly. I've had several other reports of that. Lots of people saying that their cattle they act different. They're calmer, they handle easier, they're at the bunk, they're drinking. If your cattle are doing that, they're gaining, they're doing what they're supposed to do.